Hey guys, welcome to Epic Generation. I'm Christine, the creator of the show, and I'm so glad you can join me and my friends as we step into a world of fun, learning, and creativity. This show is for awesome kids like you, empowered, positive, inspirational, creative. In short, epic. I know you guys are super smart and talented and have a lot of interests, so I've put together different topics in one show that you're gonna love. Do you guys like DIY stuff? Check out Generation DIY, Do It Yourself, where kids showcase their own creations that you can try at home. Who knows, you might be on this show one of these days. Did I say you're super smart? Aha, you're like a sponge. You guys learn so quickly and are not afraid to try new things. You're a generation of learners. So at Gen Learners, my friends will feed your curiosity in math, science, technology, arts, and even life skills. There's no limit to what you can learn. Now, whether you're a first, second, or third generation of Filipino Canadians, it's important to learn about your Philippine heritage because it's part of your identity. And lastly, we have Get Inspired, Generation Epic Talks Inspired, where we meet amazing people who will share their stories that will inspire you to reach for your dreams and be the best version of yourself. So, stick around, get comfy, and enjoy. This show is for you.
And welcome to Generation DIY. Today I'll be showing you how to make paper squishies. What you'll need is paper, crayons, or colored pencils or markers, tape, cotton, and scissors. Okay, then you could take your pencil or pencil crayon and make whatever you want. Today I'm gonna make a Pop-Tart. So you're gonna draw your drawing over here. Now what you're gonna do, you're gonna cut it out, but you have to leave a space where the fold is so then you can fill it later. Now what you're gonna do, you're gonna tape it with your clear tape. After that, you're gonna fold the excess tape at the back. After you taped all your sides, you're gonna cut the side where the fold is and you're gonna open it. After you cut it open, you could either fill it with cotton, or if you don't have cotton, you could use plastic bags. After doing that, you're gonna get your tape again and you're gonna seal the side. And there you go, you have your paper squishy. But if you don't know how to draw, you could also cut a picture from a magazine or copy it off an image of your favorite character, food, or anything. Let your imagination go wild and have fun. Bye!
My name is Dr. Mayrose Salvador. I'm also a Filipino. I came here to do my PhD many years ago, but I studied in the Philippines. So a few of you I know are Filipinos. So welcome to Gen Learners. Today we will be doing the second experiment. It's called Robo-Brush. Today you can learn how to reuse it. What we're gonna do is break it. Since it's old anyway, then we're just gonna cut it. But the first challenge that you will have to do is to make your toothbrush stand up. If the bristles are everywhere, it's not gonna stand up, okay? So you're gonna do some tricks, cut things. After that, we're going to attach a motor. This needs electricity for it to work. So we gave you some batteries. So what we're gonna do is tape it together. So your first mission is to attach the motor and the brush. Use the tape to attach it. After you're done with that, you're going to attach the two wires on the battery. If you put those two wires on the bottom and on the top side of the battery, you'll see your motor vibrating. Okay, and then you will attach it to your brush and see what happens. So the battery is the source of electricity, and electricity moves from the battery all the way to the vibration motor, and then it goes back to the battery. Okay, that's the flow of the electricity. And if you make that open, you take out that wire, either on the side of the battery or on the side of the motor, it doesn't matter, as long as you open the circuit, then you break that circuit, you turn off your motors, and so your robot stops moving. So this one is called a DC motor. Yours is a vibration motor, but they turn their DC motors into a vibration motor by attaching a eraser at the tip of it. So you just learned the intro to robotics, a little bit about electricity, and hopefully one day you will come back and build better robots here at U of T that will make our lives a bit better for everyone.
Hey guys, welcome to Rated PG Pinoy Generation. I'm your host, Gabrielle, and today we'll be showing you two Filipino toys. The slingshot, D.I.Y, and the top,
The trumpo.
Matthew, can you show us how to play with it?
You get a lock or a pedal, you put it in here, and then you aim for your target.
Wow, nice shot, Matthew.
Thank you.
Sean, can you show us how to play with the trumpo?
Okay, sure. You wrap it around the trumpo like a wool string with a cap on the end so that you can hold it in between your ring finger and your middle finger. The bottom has to be facing up, and then what you do is make a circle. It's like a blade but different. And then what you do is you then throw it with your friend. Both of you guys count down, 3, 2, 1, go. And then it starts spinning. Whoever spins the longest wins.
So now you guys learned how to play with two Filipino toys, the
D.I.Y
and the
trumpo.
Bye! See you guys next time!
Cherrie, thanks so much for inviting me here to get inspired. I want to tell you a story about my brother. So, I have a little brother. His name was Christopher. And when we were growing up, he was really, really naughty. And I know some of you have a little brother here that is a little bit crazy, right? My little brother was like that too. Whenever we went to parties, I'd have to take care of him. He would run around and crawl under tables and chairs, and I'd have to try and get him. And as we grew up, he loved sports. He loved the Toronto Maple Leafs. He loved the Raptors. He loved baseball. And he played all those sports too. But one day, when he got a little bit older, he all of a sudden started falling. It was really strange. He started falling out of nowhere. His leg would just give way and he would fall. And then he had tightness in his leg. And so he went to the doctor and he had some testing done. And the doctors told him it was ALS. It's also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And it is the same disease that we did the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge for. So as he became more and more sick with the disease, he lived at home with my mom and dad, with our parents. And he, at one point, couldn't walk anymore. He couldn't use his hands anymore. He used to be a photographer, so this was really hard for him because he couldn't take pictures anymore. He could only sit in this big lazy boy chair at home and watch all of the sports that he used to love to play. And as he became more sick and he couldn't use his hands and his legs. Then at one point he couldn't eat anymore. So yeah, he couldn't eat, and what happened was then he had to get what's called a feeding tube put in him. And that's how he ate, but he couldn't eat like he used to, and he used to love steak. Steak was his favorite, and he couldn't eat that anymore. And so what became really important to my brother was because he was stuck at home in this chair the whole time, was people coming to visit him. Because with ALS, even though you can't move your body parts, he couldn't eat, and actually there came a time when he couldn't speak anymore, his brain still worked. So he still could think, and he could feel, and my brother was very creative. So he came up with all kinds of amazing things that he wanted us to do when we were kids. And so going to visit him was really important. I visited him as often as I could, and I also have a little dog, and our little dog used to come and jump in his chair and sit with him all the time, and that brought him a lot of joy when he couldn't go out with the dog. And so we also had our cousins come over, and they used to do this thing called PJ Fridays. And so they had it was like a pajama party. So they would have food in his room with him, and they would watch movies and TV together. And this kept him really, really happy, even though he was really, really sick. But the sad thing about ALS is that everybody dies from it. Most people die when they get ALS between 2 and 5 years from when the doctors tell them they have this horrible disease. My brother lived for 5 years with this disease. And so while he's not here anymore, we still keep his memory alive. We talk about him a lot, which is very important. We talk about the disease a lot. And he's so happy that you're learning about this disease because he hopes that one day you can tell other kids about the disease too, because this disease needs a lot of help. Because I'm sure not many of you knew about it. And the importance of telling people about ALS is that so one day we can raise money and make sure that no one else becomes sick with it and no one else dies from the disease. Well, I hope you learned something about ALS, and thanks so much for listening. Now, do you have any questions for me?
What is ALS?
What is ALS? Josh, that's a great question. So ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Big words, right? That's why it's called ALS. It's also called Lou Gehrig's disease because a famous baseball player in the 1940s actually became sick with ALS also. And he died from ALS, and now sometimes we call it Lou Gehrig's disease. Any other questions?
What was his everyday life? Like, what did he do?
What did my brother do after he became sick with ALS? So basically his days were, he was actually a night person. So he liked to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning before he went to bed. He was always on the net researching stuff, reading stats about baseball, hockey, basketball. And so then he would sleep in really, really late, and he'd wake up and basically just have lunch. And then he would watch whatever sports there were on. He'd watch all sports TV shows, like all the sports talk shows. And then hopefully someone would come and visit and spend some time with him and chat with him. And then he'd watch more TV. So he spent a lot of time watching TV shows and movies. He would rewatch shows that he used to watch in the past. Remember he watched the whole series of West Wing again, and was always into whatever new movies were out. We could take him out to the movies for some time also.
Is there a cure for ALS?
That's a great question. So before I answer your question about if there's a cure for ALS, I'm going to back up and tell you what exactly ALS is and how it changes your body. So we have in our bodies, everybody has, these little cells called motor neurons, and they go from your brain and they move throughout your body to all of your muscles. So basically, Josh, when you think, I'm gonna thread this piece of string through this side, you're telling your hands to do that. And in ALS, the motor neurons die, and the message never goes from your brain to your hands. And so as that happens, and it's different for everybody, as that happens, your muscles start to atrophy. Sorry? Yes, like what you're doing right now. So what happens if you had ALS, you couldn't do that because the motor neurons would die and you would stop being able to use your hands. So that is basically what ALS is, and it goes to all of your voluntary muscles. So everything you decide you want to move, that's what it affects. So is there a cure, Vittorio? No. Right now there is no cure for ALS, and that's why right now everybody that gets ALS dies, which is really unfortunate. And the other part of this is there any treatment? So is there anything we can do for people with ALS? That question, sadly, is also no right now. So when Christopher, my brother, became sick with ALS, the only thing we could do for him was make him comfortable. Make him as happy as possible, let him do as much as he could do, let him eat all the steak he wanted to at the beginning, and ice cream, that was another one. But right now there is no cure and there is no treatment, and that's why it's really important that we share these stories of people with ALS so that one day we can raise the money so that the researchers can find a cure.
Did you have to make any sacrifices?
Yes, that is an amazing question to ask. So when my brother became sick, I want to say that I didn't really think I was making any real sacrifices. But the first thing that came to my mind was, this is something our parents can't get us out of, right? Because our parents help us every day with everything we go through. And up until this point, our parents got us out of everything. As we learned, there's no cure and there's no treatment. So there was nothing that our parents could do to help us. The only thing that we could do collectively to help him was be with him, make sure he was comfortable, make sure he was happy as possible. And I think the only real sacrifice that I needed to make, and I don't even think it was taking time away from other friends or other family, because I wanted to be as close to my brother and be with him as much as I could for as long as I had him around. Oh, thank you so much for listening. Was there one word that maybe you took away from our time here together?
Family.
Yes, I definitely think so. Family is very important, and family will get you through everything. So thanks again. All right, well, I hope you all learned something about ALS today, and thank you so much for listening and inviting me here to get inspired.
Lots of fun stuff and learning in today's episode. Well, first, I didn't know you can make a squishy out of paper, and it looks so easy to make. Now, the Robo Brush is a good way to learn about robotics. How fun was that to make brushes move at the lab? And it's fun to see different Filipino toys like the two T's, trompo and tirador. Ask your dads and uncles if they ever played with them when they were young. And we also learned a big word today, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. Knowing that some people lose their abilities to do what they normally do reminds us to appreciate what we can do. Hopefully, someday, one of you can find a cure for ALS. So till next time on our epic adventure.